Welcome to the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Good day, everyone. You know what time it is. It is time for the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we focus on one life, one smile at a time. Listen, we're going to do something different today in our podcast. But first, let me give you the title. It's going to be called The Gift of Wisdom. So we're going to dive into the gift of wisdom right after this commercial. So come back and join us. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone! Have you ever had a day that you planned to accomplish a gazillion of things, but distractions interrupted your commitment and you achieved nothing? There's a perfect solution to the madness. Try journaling on your busiest days. We offer 6 amazing cool designs of journal entry journals starting at $5.99. These journals are designed to improve your goal productivity. So what are you waiting for? Order now at comfortingpromises.com. Click on the eStore tab. Your day will be happier you did.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we focus on one life, one smile at a time. Again, our subject today is the gift of wisdom. Listen, we're going to do something out of the box. We're going to take it to another direction today. And I really wanted to share with you what I experienced yesterday. I got up about 4:30 yesterday morning to get on my treadmill. 4:30 a.m. yesterday morning to get on my treadmill. And I wanted to just listen to wisdom. You know, sometimes you just you're hungry for wisdom. You don't really know what direction that day is going to take you. So I like to equip me, because at that time in the morning, everything is at peace. Everything is settled. My spirit is open to receive just really good, clean wisdom. And I decided to start listening to Ecclesiastes, and I was going through the book and I got to chapter 7. And when I got to chapter 7, I kept repeating this chapter. And I said, wow, and I did pray and I asked, you think it would be okay to just deliver this chapter 7, just kind of talk about some of the things that I was overwhelmed in this particular chapter. So I felt like, let me share it with the podcast people. And I want to talk about Ecclesiastes chapter 7. We're not going to go over the whole entire chapter 7, but Ecclesiastes is a book of practicality. It's practical. It's not religious. Well, this is how I see it anyway. It's not religious. It's just wisdom, everyday wisdom. A child can even understand this type of wisdom that Solomon wrote in Ecclesiastes. And I wanted to share it with you. And I want to start with verse 13. And it says, "Consider the work of God, for who can make straight what he has made crooked?" Now think about this. I just kind of want to have a little fun today, and just listen to some of the wisdom, the practical wisdom that Solomon is actually speaking. Verse 14 says, "In the day of prosperity, be joyful. But in the day of adversity, consider, surely God has appointed the one as well as the other." That one right there really impacted me, because everyone has experienced both of these situations. And let's read 14 again. It says, "In the day of prosperity, be joyful. But in the day of adversity, consider, surely God has appointed the one as well as the other, so that man can find out nothing that will come after him." 15, it says, "I have seen everything in my days of vanity. There is a just man who perishes in his righteousness, and then there is a wicked man who prolongs life in his wickedness." 16, verse 16, "Do not be overly righteous, nor be overly wise. Why should you destroy yourself?" So basically what Solomon is saying is, don't be overly either one, righteous or overly wise. Just come in the medium and just be normal, We talk about not being super over the top religious, right? This is why I like the book of Ecclesiastes, because it gives you everyday practicality. And 17 says, "Do not be overly wicked, nor be foolish. Why should you die before your time?" 18, "It is good that you grasp this and also not remove your hand from the other. For he who fears God will escape them all. 19 says, wisdom strengthens the wise more than 10 rulers of the city. 20, verse 20, for there is not a just man on earth who does good and does not sin. That should relieve a whole lot of people right there. Let me read 20 again for you. For there is not a man on earth who does good and does not sin. 21, verse 21, also do not take to heart everything people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. Number 22, for many times also your own heart has known that even you have cursed others. 23, all this I have proved by wisdom, I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. 24, as for that which is far off and exceedingly deep, who can find it out? 25, I applied my heart to know, to search and seek out wisdom and the reason of things, to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. Number 26, and I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snared and nets, whose hands are feathers. He who pleases God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be trapped by her. Number 27, here is what I found, says the preacher, adding one thing to the other to find out the reason. Number 28, which my soul seeks, but I cannot find. One man among 1,000 I have found, but a woman among all these I have not found. Number 29, truly, this only I have found, that God made man upright, but they have sought out many schemes. Now, that is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 13 through 29. I wanted to share this powerful chapter with you, although I didn't read the whole entire chapter, but you can go and read chapter 7, verse 1 through 12. But wasn't that pretty practical wisdom? It also gives you kind of balance to say, we're still good people, but, he says, don't be overly righteous and don't be overly wise. That is something good to say. OK, let's just be balanced here and living and just balanced every day. This is why I was so overwhelmed with the book of Ecclesiastes. And also, while we talking about Ecclesiastes, this is the reason why I wanted to also share with you Ecclesiastes 3:11, which I felt like this would be a good time to just kind of read to you the Ecclesiastes book, because Ecclesiastes 3:11, it says, and this would just, I think it would just really whoa everybody to know that this is also you. He said, he has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity in their hearts, except that no one can find out the work that God does from the beginning to the end. Now, think about that. He has put eternity in their hearts. That means you and me. That means he's put eternity. And when I talk about eternity, I'm talking about the wisdom and the knowledge and understanding in your heart. He said, except that no one can find out the work that God does from the beginning to the end. And although Solomon is saying this, but it is God who releases the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding, so you'll know pertaining to you and wisdom what he has done from the beginning to the end, based on your journey. And that's why I love this particular verse. I have, I say it all the time. I just speak it out loud, whenever I get stuck and I need to know some information or trying to make a decision about what to do in the course of my everyday life. Like, giving an example, I was trying to make a decision about my house. And last week I spoke to you about a deck situation. This is one of the verses that I sometimes like to say out loud. You have given eternity in my heart. And, I know that there's wisdom there and I need wisdom for this situation. I try to use the practicality of Solomon's wisdom and Ecclesiastes. And also for the record, because I'm not going to make this podcast too long, I just want to go over practical wisdom with you on this podcast. But Solomon also wrote another book of wisdom, and it's called the Book of Wisdom. You can actually buy that book. You can go on Google search. I think that the Book of Wisdom is free online, but it's also, you can purchase the book and you can just have it. It's a little book, and it's similar to the Book of Proverbs that King Solomon wrote of wisdom. But Ecclesiastes is a different type of wisdom. To me, it's a practical wisdom for everybody, everyday living. You can just go through the book. Also, let me share also with Ecclesiastes 3. And it says, everything has its time. It says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, and a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones, and a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain, and a time to loose, a time to keep, and a time to throw away, a time to tear, and a time to sow, and a time to keep silent, and a time to speak, and a time to love, and a time to hate, and a time of war, and a time of peace. You see how practical that is? And that was Ecclesiastes 3, chapter 3, verse 1 through 8. You see how practical that is? You can just go through Ecclesiastes and just get so much wisdom before you start your day. Kids can even understand that. Who cannot understand when it's time to do and when it's time to not do? That's another verse that I actually read when I'm trying to figure out what is the best time to do a particular item or which direction to go. But I wanted to share that with you all and just kind of embrace you with some of the wisdom that I read and that you can also read too with your family or just yourself, your quiet time in the mornings. But listen, that is all we want to talk about today in our podcast. Again, our title is The Gift of Wisdom. And I hope that you have been blessed as well as I was blessed yesterday while I was walking on that treadmill at 4:30 in the morning. I was just overtaken. And plus, I did not want to even work out. But after I got to the book of Ecclesiastes, I just said, okay, we're going to just go through this book because this is really good. It's like feeding me. It was like I was sitting at a table eating the best food in the world. And that's how this wisdom was the practical of the wisdom that I was listening to and reading yesterday. But listen, you guys, I just hope that you are having a good time in this month of June. And as we go forward, no, this is not June, this is July. As we go forth in the month of August, I want you guys to be careful and just remember that we still do have this virus that is lurking around. Just practice cautious behavior, wearing your mask, take your vitamins, eat healthy, think about what could build up your immune systems. We want people around this globe, 7.6 billion people around the world, to be healed, to walk in health, walk in strength, walk in life, walk in love. Just be careful, be mindful. But this is your girl, Sonia Buchanan, with the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we focus on one life, one smile at a time. Until next time, until next week, bye, you guys. Have a great time. Have a great week. Have a great summer. Bye. Thank you for joining our podcast today. The podcast was produced and edited by Sonia Buchanan. For more information about the host, you can go to sonyabuchanan.com. For information about Comfort & Promises broadcast community, you can go to comfortandpromises.com. Thank you for listening to our broadcast, The Sonya Buchanan Show, where we focus on one life, one smile at a time. Until next time, bye you guys.